We're now ready to install a DORMA D860D deadbolt. We've spread the parts out here so that we can be ready to install. But before we actually get ready to put our parts in the door, there are a few things I want to touch on again. The installation template, very important, a helpful tool that will allow us to get our holes located properly if you don't already have the door prep completed. The second part that we always recommend is that you review the installation instructions. So please read these before installing the lock and keep them handy in the event you should have some questions. Now that we've had a chance to review the important documents, we're going to be ready to install our lock. We're going to take our bolt mechanism and with the two holes here up high as opposed to the center part here, this is going to tell us that this is the right side up with this bar. We are now ready to install this in the door. So let's take a look at our door. Over here you are going to see this happens to be a steel door that we are going to be working with today, and we're going to be installing deadbolt into the upper door prep. The next thing I also want you to do prior to the installation is to actually look at the door prep. Make sure that there is reinforcing inside the door, because if there isn't reinforcing, when we tighten down the lock, it will start to crush the door and the lock will not operate properly. So we've got nice reinforcing here inside the door. So we will take our deadbolt now, and with this bar on the top, we're going to slide it in, and then we will get two of our small combination screws in order to secure this. As in the case with any new screws, whether it be wood or metal, I like to put a little wax on the screws so that they go in nice and easily. And I'll get these started here, one on the top and one on the bottom. I typically put both screws in before I tighten them all the way down, and make sure that the mortise in the edge of the door is deep enough so that the latch or deadbolt face is flush with the edge of the door. The next thing I'm going to do is put the security shield into the hole. Once the security shield is in, I'm going to be able to take my outside trim and install it. But in order to do so, I'm doing this with the deadbolt thrown. I'm going to look at my door, and in this case my hinges are on the left hand side. So this would be a left hand door. I'm going to take my tailpiece and I'm going to turn it counterclockwise for a left hand door. If this is a right hand door, I turn it clockwise. So turn it counterclockwise. I'll slide the tailpiece in, and holding this in the correct position, I'm now going to take my thumb turn and I'm going to install that on the inside of the door. So to complete this, I'm going to take the inside thumb turn and I'm going to install that so that I can put my through bolts in. The through bolts are these long, heavy steel screws. I'm going to slide them in on either side. And we'll take our screwdriver and we'll tighten them down, and once again, just like we did on our deadbolt screws, we'll run them in until one is almost tight but not quite. Then I'll tighten the other one, tighten them back and forth until comfortable with it being tight in the door. And then we'll check the action. Make sure there's a nice, crisp deadbolt throw. The last thing I'll do, I'll take the keys. I'll put it into the outside lock cylinder, and I will use the keys to double check. At this point, we are now completed with the installation of the deadbolt. But the next part that you would have to do would be the installation of the strike plate. To install the strike plate, we would install the plastic box, then we would have the reinforced plate that would go into it. Go in with these two 3.5-inch long screws in wood frames, which would face the stop of the door, and to complete this installation, you would put the faceplate on with the two 3/4-inch long combination screws, and that would complete the installation.